These offenses in order to achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. Once again, I thank everyone for joining the Bhakti Sangha conference call today. Let us move to our next session, which is Srimad Bhagavatam class. May I know who all have joined the class this morning?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavad Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Arvind Daksdas from Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Arvind Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Vardhana Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharajas, and all glories to the assembled devotees. This is Tiffany in Pennsylvania, and you and the deities look so beautiful in yellow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Tiffany Mataji, Danvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vardhana Mataji, all glories to the Prabhupada and Guru Maharajis. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from Nalin.
Hare Krishna Krishna Kumari Mataji, Danvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Vardhana Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vrita Gandharvika Devidasi from Texas. Very nice background, Mataji. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, Danvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Vardhana Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, Jai Guru Maharaj, Jai. This is Srimad Bhagavatam from Charlotte. Beautiful background, Mataji, matches with your dress.
Oh, thank you, ma. Hare Krishna Shyam Gauri Mataji, Danvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Vardhana Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Shri Prabhupada. This is Preeti Vilasni Devidasi. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Preeti Vilasni Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Vardhana Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all goes to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. This is Radha Pyari Devidasi from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna Radha Priya Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to Assembly Devotee. This is Mohini Lakshmi from Detroit.
Hare Krishna Mohini Lakshmi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to all Guru Maharajas, all glories to the assembled devotees. This is Shiromani from Qatar. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Siromani Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Vardhana Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to you and all Vaishnavas. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Vrinda.
Hare Krishna Vrinda Gopika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Is anybody else would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna, Vardhana Mataji. My Dandavat Pranam to you and to all assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. This is Pooja Arora from Haridwar. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Pooja Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. I offer my obeisances to all the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Anand from West Bengal.
Hare Krishna Anya Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you much.
Welcoming all of you to the Bhakti Sangha conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Haridas Varya Prabhuji. Prabhuji is going to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 2, verse numbers 20 and 21. Before diving to the call, I will hand out the call to Shureshwar Shyam Prabhuji to give brief introduction of our Prabhuji Haridas Varya Prabhuji. Prabhuji, please take over the call, Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. His Grace Haridas Varya Prabhuji is a disciple of His Holiness Indradunya Swami Maharaj and an international speaker. Prabhuji has been associated with ISKCON for last 24 years. He has a deep penchant in rendering lectures from various Vaishnava Vedic texts. Prabhuji is a public speaker on various topics of Sanatan Dharma through the lens of disciplic succession of Brahma, Gaudiya, Vaishnava Sampradaya. He has delivered his lectures in English, Hindi, Tamil, and Malayalam across Dubai, Australia, US, and India. He extensively speaks on Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Valmiki Ramayana, and other Gaudiya literatures. He has a graduation degree in electronics and telecommunications and an MBA from Symbiosis. Hare Krishna. Back to you, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Haridas Varya Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving your valuable time and association us to this morning and enlightening on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you, Prabhuji. I'll hand out the call to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much. First and foremost, I would like to ask, am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, fine. At the outset, I would like to thank Vardhana Mataji, Priti Vilasini Mataji, and Shamagopari Mataji for giving me an opportunity to speak on the most auspicious day of Bhadra Purnima, which is the most auspicious day to speak here about Srimad Bhagavatam. So I consider myself to be extremely fortunate today to be amongst the devotees who are constantly immersed in hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from various speakers and various audience. So this is very, very divine intervention. I take it like that. And I request all your blessings and mercy before I start, so that we can delve deep into the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam today. This week also has been a very, very significant week where divine personalities have appeared like Vaman Dwadashi, Jiva Goswami, Haridas Thakur, and there are many tithis that we have seen. So we would try to see through the lenses of Srimad Bhagavatam today how we can understand these pastimes, these festivals in a better way. But before we start, we would offer our humble obeisances unto our spiritual predecessors, Acharyas, in the great lineage of Brahma Gaudiya Madhva Sampradaya, all the way up to Krishna, because without whom we cannot even take our life air, and we cannot even speak what to speak about realizations. So we owe a lot to Jiva Goswami, all the Goswamis, Srila Prabhupada, and the great divine Acharya lineage. So we will offer our humble, respectful obeisances unto them. And today we will start the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th Canto, 2nd chapter, verses 20 and 21. Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsham Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभयेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंगायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं। हरि ओं तत्सत्। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Hare Krishna, all dear devotees, welcome once again to this Bhakti Sangha Japa group Srimad Bhagavatam class. I am very honored to be amongst all of you to speak on the Bhadra Purnima day about Srimad Bhagavatam. It is mentioned by Sanatana Goswami in his Krishna Leela Stava. This is the name of the book. And in that, he offers his obeisances. And in the verses between 412 to 416, Sanatana Goswami pays his dandavats, his obeisances to Srimad Bhagavatam. And in one of the verses, he says, Paramananda Phataya Premavara Aksharayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namostute. He says, Paramananda Phataya. He says that, O Srimad Bhagavatam, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Namostume. I pay my respectful obeisances unto you. And what do you get if you read Srimad Bhagavatam? He says, Parama Ananda Phathaya. By reading you, one attains supreme transcendental bliss. Why? Why is that one will attain supreme transcendental bliss? Prema vara aksharayate. Because your syllables which are used in Srimad Bhagavatam, the words, the verses, the shlokas, the syllables which are used, what do they shower upon the reader? Pure love of Godhead. This is Sanatana Goswami's realization. That Srimad Bhagavatam showers upon the reader or the listener pure love of God. And how do they shower? They shower as cooling rain, which is very, very palatable. And what is the other quality? Sarvada Sarva Sevyaya. And you are always to be served by everyone. Why? Why is that Srimad Bhagavatam should be served by everyone? Shri Krishnaya Namostate. Because you are none different from Krishna. So this is, in a very wonderful way, establishing the fact, persuasion of Sanatana Goswami, that Srimad Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna and should be always served. So how do we serve Srimad Bhagavatam? So today, especially on the Bhadra Purnima day, it is mentioned that the Srimad Bhagavatam should be kept on a golden throne, and on the full moon day, it should be given to a Brahmana or a person who is inclined to read Srimad Bhagavatam. And by serving Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna in this way, the side effect, it's not the motive, it's the side effect, is that one will go back home, back to Godhead. So this is the glorious day. The other way of serving Srimad Bhagavatam is by giving oral reception to it, by giving our 2 ears to hearing the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. Because Srimad Bhagavatam gives us a divine narration of the Lord's pastimes. And today we are seeing in the 6th canto the conclusion, almost the conclusion of what happened between the debate of the Vishnu Dutas and the Yamadutas who were discussing over several weeks for us about whether Ajamila has to be taken to Yampuri or should be taken to Vaikunta. So today we will see the 6th canto, and through those verses, we will try to churn Srimad Bhagavatam and try to serve Srimad Bhagavatam by ardently trying and begging unto the lotus feet of the Acharyas to give us the divine vision to understand, assimilate, or even get baffled by our logics to understand the magical verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. So let's not wait further. Let's go ahead and let us discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. So let me project my screen and let me know when you can see it. So today's Srimad Bhagavatam. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, very good. So this is the verse for today, Srimad Bhagavatam. Shri Shuka Uvacha Tavevam Suvinirniya Ta Evam Suvinirniya Dharman Bhagavatam Nripa Tam Yamyapashan Nirmuchya Vipram Mrityor Amuchachan. Translation. Sri Sukadeva Goswami continued, My dear king, having thus perfectly judged the principles of devotional service, with the reasoning and arguments, the order carriers of Lord Vishnu released the Brahmana Ajamila from the bondage of Yamadutas and saved him from imminent death. So we see that the conclusion has been provided here in this verse. Ta evam suvinirniya. Suvinirniya means perfectly ascertaining, that there is no shadow of doubt, and perfectly establishing the truth, perfectly winning over the debate which was going between the Yamadutas and the Vishnudutas. And what did they ascertain? Dharma, the real religion. And what is the real religion? Dharmastu Shastrat Bhagavat Pranitam. And that devotional service is mentioned in where? Bhagavatam Nripa. And Bhagavatam here, Srila Prabhupada translates it as the principles of devotional service. So they perfectly ascertained the principles of devotional service. They established it in front of the Yamadutas. And what did they do? They saved from the Yampash, the bondage, the ropes of Yama. They took it away from Ajamila and then they released him from death. Because once the noose of the Yamapash gets tightened around the knob, then death is imminent. Though death is a temporal state where spirit soul can be never vanquished, but still it is very painful. But here they ensured that they saved him from imminent death or going to Yamapuri. So this is the verse that is being mentioned. There is no purport. So we'll see one more verse, which is text number 21. Iti pratyudita yamya dutayatva yamantikam yamaragne yatas sarvam achakshakshur arindama. This is a very nice verse, where translation it says, My dear Maharaj Parikshit, iti pratyudita yamya. Pratyudita means those who are not speaking can mute themselves. It would be easy for me to concentrate. Thank you. So it is said that, my dear Maharaj Parikshit, iti pratyudita. Pratyudita means after replying to the order carriers, having been replied to by the order carriers of Vishnu. So the Yamadutas, they got the replies from the order carriers of Vishnu or the Vishnudutas. What did they do? Yamyaha, the servants of Yamaraja. And they are Dhuta. And today we'll be talking about Dhuta and Dhuti. Dhuti means a female messenger. Dhuta means the male messenger. And here Dhuta, the messengers of Yamaraja, they went back. They had to haste a retreat because their purpose was not solved. So they had to go back to Yamaraja. Yamaragne, where did they go? Where the king, Yamaraja, is holding his kingdom. and they duly mentioned Yata Kachit. So they actually spoke Yata Sarvam, everything that happened near Ajamila's deathbed, the debate that came upon, the arguments that were presented, the logics that were presented, the religion that was discussed, the devotional practice which was mentioned, and how they lost the arguments. And in this way, everything they explained. So, translation, Srila Prabhupada says, "My dear Maharaj Parikshit, O subduer of all enemies, after the servants of Yamaraja had been answered by the order carriers of Lord Vishnu, they went to Yamaraj and explained to him everything that happened." So the purport is very small but very powerful by Srila Prabhupada. In this verse, the word pratyuditaha is very significant. The servants of Yamaraj are so powerful that they can never be hindered anywhere. So it is like they have a constant pass, universal pass, that they can go to any sinner. They can put the yampash and they can never be hindered or questioned. Why you are doing it? Because they are very correct in their activities. But this time, when they were executing what they did time and time and time and time again, which they were excellent in execution, they faced a baffling time. But this time they were baffled. Not only baffled, Prabhupada mentions disappointed in their attempt to take away a man they considered sinful. So in their court of law, in their book of law, they had very good clarity that Ajamila is sinful and hence he should be punished. He should be taken back to Yampuri and given the punishment. But they were baffled. And because of their bafflement and failing in their instruction or in their law-abiding book that they have to take the sinner back to Yampuri, they could not accomplish this activity. They were also disappointed. And this would form the basis of today's lecture, baffling of logic. And for that, we need divine magic. And this whole week, if you look at the pastimes, they are all touching upon the same subject matter. So we'll try to churn a little bit on this topic and this sentence of Srila Prabhupada alone. They were baffled and disappointed in their attempt to take away a man they considered sinful. Therefore, what did they do? They immediately returned to Yamaraj and described to him everything that had happened. So just meditating upon this verse, because that is the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam, that if we look at it, we see that there are at times when we are very certain about the fact that we will be very successful in our activity, which we have been doing time and time again. But there are at times when Krishna intervenes and makes the most obvious activity and its result to go the other way. And though with our logic, we might think that we are correct, there is some kind of higher sense, higher intelligence, and higher prevailing thoughts, which our acharyas mention through their translations, which Krishna presents, by which we can get baffled in our own logic. So one such activity we see is one such pastime that we see is of Vaman Dev, where we see such bafflement and disappointment happens time and time again. We all know that this week there was Vaman Dwadashi, and in Vaman Dwadashi, we celebrate the appearance of Vaman Dev. He is one of the incarnations in the Dashavatar. And in that incarnation, he does amazing pastime. Can anyone tell me who is on the call, what is the one uniqueness of Vaman Dev in his pastime? Of course, there are many, but when you compare Vaman Dev with all the other avatars, where is one uniqueness? Can anyone think about it? It's very baffling to see all the avatars think about the reason why they come, and one uniqueness in Vaman Dev's avatar.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes,
Are you
Mataji.
are you referring to his size and the
We
baffling?
can speak about many, absolutely right. Yes, correct.
I mean,
the
baffling thing would have been the fact that he was able to overwhelm, I should say, so much territory, although he was so diminutive in size by material calculations anyway.
Right, that's a good point.
Hare Krishna,
Mataji. All answers are correct. Yes. Go ahead.
Can I tell you, Prabhuji, one point? Hare
Yes,
Krishna,
yes.
Haridas Varya Prabhu. Actually, Vamandev Avatar is the only place where, though he was so happy with Vamandev that he didn't punish. He became a doorkeeper of him and he blessed him. So actually, he didn't do like other avatars. He kills. He didn't kill. He saved.
Ah, very nice. Very nice.
Prahlad Maharaj Ganson, that's right.
Ah, very nice. Sukara Krishna Prabhu, very nice. All the answers in the chat are also correct. Teaching a lesson to Mahajan. And this is the fraudster, somebody saying, because Jayadeva Goswami, he said, Chalayasi, transgressing the orders of Guru if not favorable to surrender to Krishna. No weapon used by Vardhana Mataji is right. But one of the most baffling fact to see is...
Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
He came to ask something. He didn't come to give something. He was asking.
He was begging for 3 pieces of land. Yeah. But did he give something? We will see today. Yes. But yes, that is also a good answer. So this is pure Vaishnavism. No answers are wrong because we are talking about the infinite Lord with multifaceted qualities of his multifarious qualities. All these answers are correct. But one of the things that Acharyas mentioned, amongst all the things, the answers that you heard all mentioned is, he didn't come to kill anyone. We see that most of the avatars, yes, it is either to vanquish, but yes, there is some kind of killing. Of course, there are some avatars where Krishna is very merciful. But in the Dashavataras, most of the avatars, he comes for Paritranaya Sadhunam, Vinashaya cha Dushkritam. But here also, he came, but he did not kill a lot of people, or he did not indulge in killing. In fact, he became a servant of Bali Maharaj. So this is very wonderful, baffling to see. But one other thing of bafflement that we are talking about here is that we have to see that one of the names of Vamandev is also Yama. So where do we see this? We see this in the Vishnu Sahasranama. If we look at the Vishnu Sahasranam, there are many names of the Lord. And between the verse 153, the 153rd name of the Lord, to, if you look at the 162nd name, which is called as Yamaya Namaha. So between this 153 to 162, all the names which are mentioned, in fact, even 151 is the name of Lord Vamandev. So between 151 to 162, the name that is utilized or is being said is of Vamandev. So let us just see each one of these names and see bafflement in each one of these names. Because today, the subject matter is how the logic gets baffled and how the magic, the divine magic of Krishna consciousness reigns supreme. So this is the verse which we see in Vishnu Sahasranam. If you have to look at the verse, you can look it up here. Upendro Vamana Pramshur Amoga Shuchirujitaha Atindraha Sangraha Sargo Dhritatma Niyomo Yamaha. So these are the different names of the Lord in the Vishnu Sahasranam. Upendro Vamano. So if you count each one of them, Upendraha, Vamanaha, Pramshuhu, Amogaha, Shuchihi, Urjitaha, Atindraha, Sangraha, Sargaha, Dhritatma, Niyama, Yama. The 12 names of Lord Vamana appears in the 151 to 162. So let us just look at each one of them and try to see the bafflement. So the first is Upendra. And before we see the meanings of these verses, there has to be some question and answers. So what is Upa Indra mean? What is the meaning of Upendra? Of course, many of us would have heard this in many lectures. What does Upendra mean? Anybody?
The follower
of Indra. Okay. Follower or younger of?
Indra's brother.
So Krishna Prabhu saying Indra's brother. Okay. Anybody else?
Subordinate.
Very nice. Who said that?
Prabhupada Prabhu.
Jai. Subordinate. Very nice. Upa Adhyaksh means subordinate. Okay. Younger brother of India. Okay. So we have to see this pastime of whether it is subordinate or whether it is the younger brother of Indra. So it is mentioned in certain chandas and certain Vedic Shastras that how this name came upon Krishna. We all know the pastime of Govardhan, where Krishna lifted the Govardhan for 7 days, 7 nights. And when Krishna was lifting the Govardhan, everybody came to know, especially Indra came to know, that his might is completely broken. His ego was shattered, and his rainwater repository completely ran out, and he couldn't punish the Brajvasis. So he thought that, yes, I have committed a grave mistake. He realized that he had committed a grave mistake, and he was very afraid of punishment coming his way. So what did he do? He first kept Kamadhenu in front of him, and he wanted to come and meet Govinda or Krishna. And he wanted to meet Krishna. So it is said in the Shastras that Indra was so afraid to face Krishna face to face because he had given difficulty to his devotees that he was hiding behind Kamadhenu's tail and he was squatting and walking so that he knew Krishna would love the cows. So the cow has to be in front. And not only that, Indra was so baffled that he thought he will attain sure victory over these Brajvasis, but the simple cows, the simple living entities, and the cowherd boys and the cowherd men before them, Indra's logic and ego got completely shattered. So there was a divine magic. There was a divine intervention of lifting the Govardhan hill. And that Govardhan hill, when it was lifted, Indra's logic was completely shattered. So here also we see, and then when he came before Krishna, the whole Kamadhenu, the cow Kamadhenu, she glorified Krishna with many verses. And as she glorified Krishna with many verses, and at the end, as soon as the glorification was coming to an end, Indra just came behind the tail of Kamadhenu and offered his obeisances and said, Krishna, because you are so great, I would like to name you as Govinda. And along with the Govinda Pattabhishek, he also said, I would like to also give you one other name. And that name, when he was scared, when he was really trembling because the punishment would come his way, he said, I would like to also name you as Upendra. Now imagine somebody is coming and offering obeisances for asking apologies and asking excuse to Krishna. And Upa at that time means subordinate. So here he is saying, Krishna, you are the greatest personality of Godhead. You are Govinda. You are the master of the senses. You are the protector of the cows. And he says, hence I name you as subordinate of Indra. Can you imagine this? So then Krishna was smiling and he said, okay, I accept it. Then he says, it is mentioned in the Shastras, in the Vamana Purana and many other places. Then he says that I'm very, very sorry. Because I was trembling, I was afraid. I wanted to give you the name Upari Indra. Upari Indraha. Upari Indraha means you are above Indra, because by your act you have clearly showcased that you are above the topmost god of the Devatas. You are Upari Indra, but the slip of the tongue, due to my trembling nature, I said you are Upendra. But then the Lord said, don't worry, you are saying still correctly. Because I came as Vaman Dev, and I came as your younger brother because I was born to Aditi and Kashyapa. So I came and I came to you and I ensured that you get back your kingdom. So in this way, he gets the name Upendra. Upendra means he is the younger brother of Indra. That is the name that it was taken. So though it is correct, subordinate, but in the context of how it was spoken and the meaning that Krishna took is that he is the younger brother of Indra. So this is the baffling logic that we have, that we are very certain that even Sanskrit is like that sometimes. Very certain the meaning is this way, but the meaning is actually sandwiched in a different way, and Krishna takes it in a different way and realizes it in the different way in the heart of devotees. So this is very beautiful. The first word we see is Upendraha. The second is the verse. So if I share back my screen, the second name of the Lord is Vamana. So yes, Vamana, what should be the meaning of the term Vamana? Again, very easy question. Vamana. What should be the meaning of the word? Dwarf. Or of one who is not that tall, one who is dwarf. And it is also said that Vamana also means one who bestowed his blessings by great radiations from his lotus face, lotus-like face. So we all know the pastime when Vaman Dev came in the Yajnashala of Bali Maharaj. And he was walking, he was a very tiny person, a dwarf, and he had got all his toolkits also which he carried, which he got as gifts. He had a small plumbing unit, he had a small plumbing machine, everything of his size. So Bali Maharaj was very astonished that how come you are first of all dwarfs? And the Shastras mentioned how dwarf was he? If you have to take a relative scale of dwarfism, how dwarf was he? It is said that in the dwarf community, if you had a group of dwarfs, all the dwarfs would be very concerned for Vamana Murti, thinking that how will Lord Vamana get a bride? Because he's so dwarf. So the dwarfs used to think he's so dwarf, how will he get married? So you can understand that he was very tiny and he was very small. He was one of the most tiniest incarnations. But then he came and he came before Bali Maharaj. And Bali Maharaj, when he saw that he is to be worshipped, he is to be worshipped because he is a Brahmana. So this is also correct. Dhanashri Mataji says, Vamana worshipful. But he worshipped him as a Brahmana. He invited, Bali Maharaj invited Vaman Dev and he asked him the questions. The first question he asked is, Kastvam Brahman. He said, who are you? Who are you? Can you tell me? Can you give me your introduction? You seem to be coming from a distant place and you are taking tiny steps to come towards me. Who are you? And Lord Vamana was answering in Prahelikas, in the sense, in a puzzling way. He said, Apurva. He said, neither, who are you? I am never born before. You are never, anybody has come before me. I am a person whom you would have seen never in this form before. So, Apurva, never in the past such a person has come. So I have come now. So who are you? So Bali Maharaj understood, okay, he's answering. Apurva means maybe he thought that his name is so. So he kept on asking the second question. Generally, people ask when they meet each other, who are you? Where are you from? So the second question he asked was, where are you from? Where do you live? So when Bali Maharaj answered this question, what was Vamana's response? He said, the whole cosmic manifestation is my residence, right? I reside in whole cosmic manifestation. And he also resides personally in his dham, but the whole cosmic manifestation can be considered as his residence. Then they asked him the question, who are your parents? Who is your father? Who is your mother? So when this question was asked, there was a question mark. Vaman Dev said, I have never heard about these names, parents, because I don't have any parents. So then he asked, if you don't have parents, do you have a natha, a caretaker? Because you seem to be a very small dwarf and you need assistance. So do you need any caretaker? Do you have any caretaker? He said, anatha. I do not have any caretaker. Why? Because I am the caretaker of everybody in this material world. So nobody takes care of me. I take care of everyone in this world. But the way he understood, his logic was understood by Bali Maharaj was that maybe he is an orphan. So he is asking for something. So he said, what do you want from me? He said, with my leg, and please hear this very carefully. Vamandev said, with my leg, I would like to have 3 pieces of land measured and given to me. So this is what he asked for. At that time, he said yes, and he called, Bali Maharaj called his wife Vindhyavali and said, let's give the promise to none other than Vamandev. So when this promise was given, this was given over pouring water to in the hands of Vamandev. And it is mentioned about the speed or the motion of this particular activity. So before that, when this activity, before I speak about that narration, sorry, I'm going a little to and fro. So holding my thought, when Vamandev answered these questions, all the demigods, including Kashyap Prajapati, he knew that the Supreme Lord had arrived. And because of these mentions of these answers, he understood that the Supreme Lord is none other than Vamandev. At that time, Kashyapa, before that, he never knew where his sons were hiding from Bali Maharaj, because Bali Maharaj was doing this yajna and all the devatas, they were hiding they were under lockdown and they were completely hiding from the outside world. So Kashyapa said, because the Lord has come, why don't you go to the Yajnashala and take the forms of different living entities and hide yourself in the Yajnashala? Somebody became a tree, somebody became a flower. The devatas, they disguised themselves because they knew that the minute Bali is defeated, a great battle will commence. So they needed the army by his side. So they all went and took different forms and stayed there. But it is mentioned that the minute Vamandev answered these questions and he turned towards his Bali and he looked up towards Bali, and his lotus face was seen by Bali, and that effulgence of that lotus face, when it fell on the existence of that land of the Yajnashala, then everything became auspicious. It was dwarf Brahmana, but the glories of his lotus face were tall and gigantic in nature. The glories of his name are quite gigantic in nature. So he is also Vamana because he is dwarf. But the Vishnu Sahasranam immediately talks about the next name of Vamandev. So we saw 2 names. The first was Upendra. The second was Vamana. So the third name is very contradictory to the second name. And what is that name? The name is called as Pramshuhu. Pramshuhu means very tall. Now only Sahasranamam mentioned that he is dwarf. The immediate next name, it mentions that he is tall. Look at the baffling logic within the verses also. There is a bafflement of somebody cannot be simultaneously small and tall in this material world. Either he can be tall or she can be tall, or either she can or he can be dwarf. But here the Lord was dwarf and immediately became tall. So when we say this word immediately, we have to understand it is not like the serials that we see that he slowly started expanding and the camera zooms out, and they show the nakshatra, tara, everything, and they show the beautiful stars and he starts going up and up. It takes at least 15 minutes for whole Vamandev to appear. But this is not how the pastime happened. The acharyas give a very relative sense of how quick was this expansion of Lord Vamandev. And this is very beautiful to see. In one of the verses in the acharyas of one of the Sri Sampradayas, he mentions, the Alvar, he mentions How quick was this expansion? Vindhyavali and Bali Maharaj was pouring the water in the hands of Vaman Dev. And Vaman Dev was holding his hand to accept the offering, the charity of land which was being promised by Bali Maharaj. The minute the water hit the hand, after punishing Shukracharya and all that pastime, when the water hit the hand, Vaman Dev started expanding. It is said that when the water hit the hand, the next second it was seen that the water was hitting the feet. Which water? The water which Brahma was pouring from top of his lotus petal when he was showering the lotus feet with the Ganges water. And that is the quickness. As the water touched the hand, the other water, which was in the kamandalu, which was in the pot of Brahma, which he was holding, he saw that at a great giant footstep is coming towards him. And he offered all obeisances. He offered all the water unto his lotus feet. This is baffling to understand. It is also mentioned, it is the perfect comparison of relative velocity. So if we have to see physics, if we have to say that the car is traveling very quickly, that means either we should be stationary, we should be sitting at one place, and we should be watching the car traveling from left to right or from east to west, traveling very quickly. Suppose we are in a car and we are traveling 100 miles per hour and somebody overtakes us and we still say the car is traveling quickly, or it's traveling very fast, or it's going from one place to another place at a very great speed. That means we are keeping our 100 miles per hour stationary, and we are seeing that the other car which is overtaking us is going at a greater speed. So this is called as a relative comparison. We have to put ourselves in one spot stationary, and we have to see the other speeds of all other activities. Our acharyas use this logic to give us how giant was Vamandev. He mentions, the acharyas mention, that when Vamandev started expanding, and when he was a dwarf, on top of him were the beautiful stars. But as he started expanding, these nakshatra, the stars, the Milky Way, the entire cosmic manifestation, and the brightest of the stars and the planets and the suns, they all became a tiara, like a crown. Like in the Miss Universe, they give a tiara to each lady and say, you are the Miss Universe of the world, a small tiara. So when the Lord Vamandev, when he expanded, all these stars became the tiara of this beautiful head of Lord Vamandev. But he did not stop there. He continued expanding. And the Acharya says that tiara which was crowning his head became his necklace. So that means he overshot that layer. But as he expanded further, that necklace became his belt. Now everybody will say, Prabhuji, this is too much. How come a necklace can fit the waist size? At least we can prove it to ourselves. Our necklaces never fit our waist size. Even if we mix 7 necklaces together, our waist size will be quite large. How is it possible that the necklace, but the Lord's hips are mentioned to be very slender and small in size. So for him, he was so artistically wonderful to see that the necklace, which was the stars and the cosmic manifestation, as he was growing, the necklace became his belt. But the expansion did not stop there. As he grew further, as he grew taller and taller and taller, the same belt became his ankle belts or nupura. So if you can see this very clear mentioning of this relative logic, it baffles our logic. We think that the sky is the limit, but Vamandev proved with his divine intervention that our logic that the sky is the limit is just the ankle bells on his ankle. So this baffling of logic is very common in the spiritual paradigm. We see very often that this logic of ours, that this can fit only in this way, or this needs to happen, sometimes is trumpeted by the Lord's, is trumped by the Lord's intervention. So this is why he is called as Pramshuhu, the third name in Vishnu Sahasranama, that he is very tall. And this gigantic form of the Lord is known as Vamandev. And this is very interesting to know. And the next name of Vamandev, if we go back to the list, it is to say, we saw Vamanaya Namaha, we say Pranshva, we say Amoghaya Namaha. Amogha means the Lord who acts always with a purpose. And Amogha also means that never an activity goes in vain. So if somebody worships the Lord and there is a benediction which is given by the Lord, it never goes in vain. A very beautiful example which we see is that once Ramanujacharya, he was in Srirangam and he was taking, not in Srirangam, but in Kanchipuram, and he was taking instructions from his spiritual master, Yadav Prakash. And Yadav Prakash was giving wrong explanations on certain Shastras. So Ramanujacharya was very dejected, and at times he gave the correct explanations, but he was expelled from the class. And when he was expelled from the class, Ramanujacharya was very dejected, and he was thinking, how will my life be fruitful? How can my life be fruitful? Maybe I should commit suicide because now I don't have a spiritual master. So while he was thinking like this, a person was reciting a shloka and he was traveling next to Ramanujacharya. And when Ramanujacharya heard this shloka, his entire existence, and he was thrilled and he was enthusiastic after hearing this shloka. What was the shloka? The shloka said, Kada punaha shankaran tanka kalpaha dvajarinda kusha vajranchalanchanam tivikrama cha charanam bhujaptvayam madhyamurdhanam alankarishashi. So this verse which was spoken, and when Ramanujacharya heard, he understood the meaning of this verse. He said that the person who was walking and chanting this shloka, he was uttering, when will that day be mine? When will that day be mine? When the lotus feet of Lord Vamandev will fall upon my feet again, upon my head again. Now, this is very interesting to understand. Lord Vamandev kept his feet on Bali Maharaj. But this devotee poet who was walking by Ramanujacharya, he is giving the real inner meaning. When the Lord took the 3 steps, he took the first step, he measured the whole earthly planet and the planetary systems below Earth. He measured the whole of it. That means his foot would have also expanded. It's not that his feet size was the same and his only body expanded. No, his feet would have also expanded. So when his feet expanded, it covered the whole surface of Mother Earth. That means the dust from the lotus feet of the Lord was on top of every living entity's head. This is very clearly to be understood, that when the Lord measured the first step, he gave the lotus feet, he gave the dust of his lotus feet not only to humans, not only to the devatas, he gave it unconditionally to all the living beings. And that is what Ramanujacharya heard. Dvaja Aravinda Kusha Vajra Lanchanam. And what does that lotus feet contain? He saw all of this. He saw the Dvaja, he saw the Vajra, he saw the lotus, he saw the gourd, he saw the Vajra, and all of these was assembled in, and these were imprinted on his lotus feet. Our feet will have just common lines, but the Lord's lotus feet is very beautiful with these embellishments and with these imprints, which are constantly available. And he says, Tivikrama cha charanam bhujatvayam. Tivikrama, the one who took these 3 steps, he had placed his lotus feet and the dust of his lotus feet on all living entities. So I will pray that one day he keeps that back. Madhya Murdanam Alankaryashi. When will my head be decorated again with the dust of the lotus feet of Vamandev? So when Ramanujacharya heard this, he understood that the Lord's incarnation is never goes in vain. Whenever he acts, every act of his is fruitful in nature. So even this act of Yadav Prakash expelling me will have some reason behind, because the Lord very unconditionally gave his lotus feet to every living entity. That means every action of his is fruitful in nature. So that is why he has called as Amogha. Amogha. That means his activity will never go in vain. So in this way, Ramanujacharya was very happy and he started his search for his spiritual master again. So this is also very wonderfully seen that the Lord's names, the Lord's activities are always fruitful. Now one may ask this question, as Jayadev Ashrapati also said, Chalayasi. He is mentioned that he took the 3 steps by committing a fraud. He said, I'll take 3 steps, and he became a gigantic form. So is Vaman Dev a fraudster, a scamster? By telling lies, did he take the 3 feet of land from Bali Maharaj? Any advocates on behalf of Vaman Dev on the call? He's been said that he's a fraudster. And somebody says, no, but then you have to come to the court of Bhakti Sangha Japa group and prove that Vaman Dev is not a fraudster. Anybody on the call would like to attempt? This is a divine opportunity to become the advocate on behalf of Vaman Dev. Suresh Sham Prabhu, you can be in the judge seat because you're saying yes and no. So Suresh Sham Prabhu, you can be the judge seat and then you can decide. But any advocates for Vaman Dev or any advocates for Bali Maharaj's son, who was the one who said that you are a fraudster? Anybody knows the name of Bali Maharaj's son? Oh, this is a very difficult question. Who was the father of Bali Maharaj? Everybody knows. And the son of Prahlad Maharaj? Virochana. Absolutely right. So there was a traditional lineage. There that in this family there is a traditional lineage here, that in this heritage you will always see that the grandfather and the grandson have the same qualities. Always the grandfather and the grandson will have same qualities. So it was Hiranyakashipu, and he has FIR in all police stations against his name. But Prahlad Maharaj, who is his son, will not be like his father. But Prahlad's son, Virochan, will be exactly like his grandfather. He also has FIR in all the police stations. Again, Bali Maharaj, who is the son of Virochan, he will be like his grandfather. Who is he? Prahlad Maharaj, very devoted. So now we are talking about Bali Maharaj's son. So how will he be? He will be, who is the Bali Maharaj's son? Namuchi. Is also, yes, somebody else?
No, I was saying
human
means bad person. That's what you are trying. I got understood. Like you are saying lineage, right? If I understood wrong.
Heritage. I mean, father, son, grandfather, grandmother, the lineage or the heritage or family tree. Let's put it that way. I might not be the best person to choose the words. The family tree had a specific quality. The grandfather and the grandson had the same properties or characteristics or character. So here we see that Bali's son, Namuchi, will go as per his grandfather. And his grandfather was not devotional, because Bali was devotional. So his father, Virochan, was not devotional in nature. So Namuchi actually called Vaman Dev as a scamster. And he said, you are doing a scam. You are doing a fraud. My father is accepting everything and giving because he is very devoted, but I will raise my voice. So today I say that you are doing a scam because you said you will take 3 lands and you suddenly became big and now you are taking big steps. So now my question is, who will become the advocate against Namuchi, who is in the court, and who will say that Vaman Dev did the right thing? Is he a scamster or is he not? Anybody? As I said, this is a divine opportunity.
Yes, in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna says that I am the greatest of all cheaters. So
But this will go against in the court, Praradhana Prabhu, because
I'm on
Namuchi
the
will
other
say,
side.
yeah. So we have now more tough competition. Now we have Praradhana Prabhu and Namuchi on the other side. Anybody to trump both of them? Yes. Seems like nobody wants to save the Lord today. Huh? But our acharyas are not like this.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Everything
Yes,
belongs to
Mataji.
Krishna. Everything belongs to Lord. So it's not that he's taking.
Oh, very powerful argument. Very powerful. Everything belongs to the Lord, so he's just taking back. But here the question is, okay, you can take back, but you said something, but you are doing something else. You said by three feet of land, but now you expanded your feet. So that is the accusation. The accusation is not that whether the property belongs to you or not. The accusation is the way that you actually said you want and what you took is different.
Okay, Prabhu.
Yes.
Here's, okay, this is a reach, but I'm saying that he's not a fraudster because, to say that he grew his feet in size is like a material vision, because all of Krishna's forms are eternal. So those big feet that he had in this pastime, they're eternally there. So when he said that he would take 3 steps with his feet, he took 3 steps with the feet that he already had. It's not that.
Very nice. That is the winning argument, Mataji. Today, both Namuchi and Pradhanandana Prabhu has to lose to that argument, because that is the argument of the Acharyas. And very well done, Mataji, that you guessed the argument of the Acharyas. It is very pleasurable. Yeah, Pradhanandana Prabhu.
Also, Prabhuji, when he promised, he did not say that, what will be my size of my feet like. He didn't specify that.
He said my leg. He didn't say my leg in this form. That he did not say. He said my leg, and eternally he is a Virata Purusha. And eternally he, of course, he has as eternal position, he had gigantic steps, and he took those 3 paces of land. So this is how he argued with Namuchi. But Namuchi said, nothing doing, I'm going to attack you. And when he tried to attack Vamandev, he gave a royal kick to Namuchi, and Namuchi went flying up in the sky, and he was purified by this kick. So one of the names of Vamandev is also Suchihi, because he purified, and he is a purifier. So Namuchi had a very strong logic that this is how it is, but baffling of logic is the divine magic of our Lord Sri Krishna. And he always ensures that he baffles the logic. Of course, there are 6 other names, which we don't have the time, but maybe sometime ahead, we will speak about it. Of course, we spoke about Vamandev, but our Sampradaya is Brahma Madhva Gaudiya, Madhva Sampradaya, where our highest goal is to serve Sri Radha and Krishna. So Srimati Radharani also speaks in a very condescending way, or in a very sarcastic way, not condescending, sarcastic way, to her female messenger. And she speaks about Vamana. And that is being recorded by his Rupa Goswami in his book called as Hamsa Duta. He uses, because we are talking about dutas, we are talking about messengers carrying the message. Here we see that the Hamsa, or the swan, was used as a messenger to talk about the deep feelings of Srimati Radharani to Krishna. So let us just see what Srimati Radharani mentions. And this is in text 132. She sees very beautifully, she says this to her messenger. Yadatmanam darpat aganita guru vamanam mudha mano rajendadhyaham tvai balitaya kalpitavati. Prapede tasyedam falamuchitam eva priyasakhi vidure yat shipta pranayamamaya pashe nigadita. She says, oh Krishna, oh Duti, oh messenger, do you know Lalita, do you know that he is also called as Vamana? And he is called, and she addresses him as Vamana. Why? Because she says about herself, she says, proudly ignoring her superiors, my dear friend happily offered you the kingdom of her heart. So the messenger is saying to Krishna. that, my Srimati Radharani, she ignored her superiors. And in this pastime, she calls her as Vamana, because who ignored their superior? Bali Maharaj ignored the superior, or Shukracharya. Because Shukracharya said, don't give these 3 paces of land. And he gave ultimate logic. But then he ignored the superior Shukracharya, or his spiritual master. And what did he give? He offered his heart. Of course, he offered his whole head to Vamandev. So the messenger is saying, Srimati Radharani also ignored her superiors and offered you the kingdom of her heart. Just like Bali Maharaj surrendered his kingdom, here the kingdom is the heart of Srimati Radharani. She surrendered that. But what happened afterwards? She got the appropriate result. What is that? Just like Bali Maharaj was punished by tying him with the ropes, Srimati Radharani says to her messenger, and the messenger conveys, you bound her with ropes of love and threw her far away. Just like he was thrown into the Sutala planet, you have thrown her far away. Look at the wonderful comparisons of Rupa Goswami. This is Rupa Goswami's highest realizations recorded in the book as Hamsaduta. So our Sampradaya is far excellent. It gives the highest divine of love of Godhead. And these are the verses which we can cherish, that the gopis see Vamandev in a different way. The Sri Vaishnavas, they see it in a different way. But when we all see it together, our logic can take a back step, just like the Yamadutas' logic took a back step. And we can just see the divine spiritual magic of the Lord being executed in the hearts of the devotees. So with that, we will stop here. We talked about the 6 names of Lord Vamana, but the underlying theme was that baffling logic leads to divine magic. And that, though it's quite loosely coined, it's not something that I want to establish as a fact, but we see in these pastimes that logic takes a back seat and there is a divine intervention by the Lord, and that fulfills the hearts of devotees with supreme bliss. So I hope in the coming days, we can churn Srimad Bhagavatam like today on the Bhadra Purnima day. And I once again thank all the organizers of Bhakti Sangha Japa Group to give me an opportunity today to speak Srimad Bhagavatam and relish Srimad Bhagavatam. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yadastas litam kinchit vidvamsat purayantu tat yadastat saushvam kinchit tad guru eva me nahi. Because there would be many mistakes in this presentation, and those mistakes are truly mine. Please point it out, please correct them, please provide your feedbacks. And if there are anything that was good, all belongs to the Acharyas and the Guru Parampara. And I thank everyone who took part, advocates of this trial today, and protected the Lord, and also took on the other part to accuse the Lord. All of those devotees are glorious in nature. Thank you very much for your participation. Hare Krishna. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for a very wonderful class on this auspicious day. Very briefly, you narrated about Vaman. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Sureshwar Sham Prabhu, please unmute yourself and go ahead with your question, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu. So I would thank you very much, Prabhu. It was very interactive and you were pulling our attention always. I was very tuned, Prabhu, on this auspicious day of Bhadra Purnima. And
you are the judge, Prabhu, so you have to give the decision. Do you agree with the arguments that was presented?
I agree with both, Prabhu. So our Lord is mystical, okay. Right? So he's Yogeshwara. So
very nice. Go ahead, Prabhu. Go ahead with your question.
My question, Prabhu, so we are reading these pastimes and we understand, but we don't understand, right, Prabhu? That's the thing happening, Again and again, new points come up. So, I'm hoping it's a good thing, Prabhu. We understand, but we don't understand. So what do you say, Prabhu? How do you comment?
Bewilderment is the stepping stone for realizations. That is my way of understanding. Krishna is so bewildering in his actions. If anybody thinks that Krishna and his actions are linear in nature, they are only for these activities, these reasons, one cannot progress in devotional life. You have to be always open. There are millions, because this is mentioned by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and he also appeared in this week, so we have to speak about him. In Krishna Samhita, he mentions that the Lord appears, the Lord does pastimes in every devotee's heart. So that way, his pastimes are eternal. Janma karma cha me divyam. So it's not that when he's Vaman Dev today, he's not Nrsimha Dev today. It's not like that. Right now he's Vaman Dev. At the same point of time, he's Nrsimha Dev. He's Parashuram. He's Ram. He's Balram. He's Krishna. He's everything. Simultaneously, it is happening. And how it is possible? It is happening in every devotee's heart. So all these realizations are not finite, because every devotee's heart, when this realization comes, it comes as a different realization. So when there are so many realizations and which are cohesive, we get bewildered. And it is natural. And that is really nice to churn our hearts in a way so that we get nice makhan out of it. So a short answer, Prabhu, bewilderment is the stepping stone to realization.
Yeah, thank you. And one statement I would like to make, Prabhu. Yesterday we were reading Radharani's love is pure. It is said towards Krishna, Radharani's love is very pure, but it is perverse, crooked, and duplicitous. So,
but I would add one word: transcendentally,
yes,
perverse, duplicitous, and crooked in nature.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, transcendental anger, transcendental crookedness, transcendental duplicity. It's okay.
Yeah, yes.
And that is the pleasure.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dandavat.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Sureshwar, Sukhakar Krishna Prabhu, please go ahead, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hello, Prabhu. Not able to.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Actually,
I can see you.
Prabhuji, Bali Maharaj, actually, when he is there in the Sutal Lok and Krishna is the security guard for him, he has told that at the end of this Kali Yuga, you will become the Indra of the next Yuga. So that means he's giving him continuously some new, but becoming Indra is not a good sign, no, Prabhu, because Swargaloka is not spiritually oriented, no, because Swargaloka again, you have to come back to the material world, no.
So there are not always. Not always. Like in Dhruv Maharaj also we see the first blessing, because he asked, the first blessing was to become the king. He was, to sit in his father's lap. That was fulfilled. Then the material world desires were fulfilled. Then Dhruvalok was given. After that, he will come to Vaikuntha. So some acharyas mentioned what great fortune is that he asked for mirrors, broken mirror, but what he got was diamonds, right?
Diamond.
Yeah. So what he got was diamonds. So this is not necessary that the bestowed. Once the Lord bestows his blessings, then that is eternal in nature. So his blessings are also eternal in nature. So we will not come back to this material world.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Prahlad Anand Prabhuji, please go ahead with your question, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Mataji, for allowing me to speak. And my Dandavat Pranam to all the Vaishnavas and exalted Vaishnavas like Haridas Varya Prabhuji. Such
your
an
servant,
excellent.
always your servant.
Give
me the post of your assistant advocate. I would love to be serving like that every time. Very nice argument.
I'm not really qualified by all this, but these discourses are really, they are very enlightening and giving us transcendental bliss in our heart. That is what I feel always, and with your lectures and all that. it's kind of superseding all my previous transcendental places like that. Thank you very much. I didn't want to go much into that, but I wanted to know about Bali Maharaj's daughter. Her name was Ratnavali, and I understand there's some.
The wife's name was Vindyavali, if I'm not wrong.
Vindyavali. Right, and the daughter's name was Ratnavali.
I am not aware.
Yeah, that's what I
sister, not daughter, sister. Sorry, sister's name is Ratnavali. Sister.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. But there was some connection with his daughter who saw Vaman Dev, and she had so much motherly feeling. She wanted to breastfeed her.
Prabhu, not daughter, not daughter, sister. Prabhu, sister wanted, not daughter.
I'm not sure about that.
It was daughter, Prabhu.
And then there was some connection with Putana, you know.
Yeah.
Putana had that kind of feeling. So these are some of the Sastra says like that. But whatever, you know, I didn't know that like that. So I just wanted to mention about that, you know. And secondly, yeah, I seek blessing of all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis here, because today is the day I was born.
Happy birthday to you.
And
happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Prananda Prabhu. Happy birthday to you. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, and go home back to Godhead.
May you have no more birth. May you no more birth
again.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Happy
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare
conscious
Rama,
birthday.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh.
Happy birthday, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, everybody. I'm just seeking your blessings, you know, and you know.
Whatever I want cake. Whatever birthday cake I want, birthday cake.
He wants birthday cake.
Thank you. First and foremost, thank you, Sukatira Krishna Prabhu, for so enthusiastically chanting. This is very wonderful.
He's my elder brother, Motubai. He's my Motubai.
He's calling me elder brother. Yes. I'm so grateful to my own mother who read Srimad Bhagavatam to me when I was in utero. Right? And you know, all these Matajis, they are representing my mothers, because they are giving such a nectar every day, every morning, you know. So I touch the feet of all mothers and all Vaishnavas. This is my
I always feel that when I give class, there is at least one Bhakti Sangha Japa group person's birthday. So this is very wonderful that I bring my classes is on somebody's birthday, and Prabhu, wish you very, very happy birthday, and you're doing great service. And thank you for always being with us and doing great service. Thank you, Prabhu.
But your happiness will celebrate every week, Prabhuji.
Wonderful. If organizers say so.
Conscious birthday, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, koti dandavad pranam. Happy Krishna conscious birthday.
Hare
Krishna.
Ayan
Saha Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, Prabhu. Dandavad pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavad pranam. And first of all, I would like to say happy birthday to Praladananda Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hari Bol. Touching your feet. Hari Bol.
No, Prabhu. I want you to touch your feet.
See, I'm a Vayovrud, and people are Gnanavrud. Vayovrud is by chronological age, but people can be far above in Gnanavrud. So, you know, I take everyone as Gnanavrud, and, you know, anyone who speaks Krishna, Hari's Nam, Prabhupada's name, is far above me. That's what I think. Thank you very much, Hari.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I would like to apologize for interrupting the class in the beginning. I'm so sorry, Prabhu, and to all the assembled devotees. I'm so sorry. And I have a question, a simple question, that what is the meaning of hypocrisy, Prabhu?
Hypocrisy is to advocate a way of thinking, or to preach a way of thinking, and to act something totally opposite to it. It's also very close to pretendship, but hypocritic behavior, best you would see if you meet me. You can get to see my behavior is one of like that. But hypocritic behavior is to say something and act totally different. Right? For example, one says one should be very honest in their activities or in their speech, and they advocate that amongst a large audience. But at the drop of a hat, when they get a chance, they speak a lie. So that is not acceptable. Or one says, we should save all living entities and we should not commit harm to any living entity. And at the drop of the hat, they will have non-vegetarian food on their plate, which is committing harm. So this is hypocritic behavior. One would say we have to protect the ocean, but they would be the first person to put the trash in the ocean. So these are some of examples of hypocrisy, to say something and do something different.
Okay, Prabhuji. And one more thing, and what is hypocrisy in Bhakti, Prabhu?
Hypocrisy in Bhakti is one to have hidden material desires in the heart, but goes before Krishna and says, I am yours and I don't have any material desires and I want to only achieve you. This is the greatest hypocrisy. And do you want to hear one nice pastime on this, on Vaman Dev, on this?
Yes, Prabhu.
So in Sri Rangam, there was a devotee named as Tondar Adipodi Alvar. This Alvar went to take the darshan of Sri Ranganath. And he went inside and he saw Sri Ranganath. And when he was seeing Ranganath, in his heart of hearts, he got this thought in his mind that what kind of hypocrite is he, that he is having so many material desires and he is coming here to see the Lord and say that I am yours. So much so that he felt this thought come in his heart and he started laughing at his state, that such a hypocrite I am and what kind of a person I am, that he started running away from the temple. From Sri Rangam, he started running away towards the outside gate of the temple. And he was laughing, and in his Pasuram, he says, he was laughing so much that his rib bones were both colliding together. So that means he was laughing that such a hypocrite I am, that I'm having material desires in my heart. And here I'm coming before Ranganath and saying, I am yours. At that time, the Lord appeared in his heart and he said, why are you saying that you are a hypocrite? You are not. Because if you remember Vaman Dev, when I came and measured the foot, I bestowed my mercy on all living entities. So I already bestowed you the mercy. So once my mercy is bestowed, they are always fruitful. They are amogha. So if you say you are still a hypocrite, that means my blessings have not been fruitful. And when he heard that, he started running again inside the temple. And the next Pasuram says, as Trivikrama, your blessings are always there. And one who takes your name, though he might be a hypocrite to begin with, but once he receives your blessings and continues in the path of devotional service, continues in the path of the Mahajanas, he can no longer remain a hypocrite. So this is the glory of Lord Vaman Dev.
Shipram bhavati dharmatma satsvat santim ligachati. Kaunte pratijani.
Yes, very nice. The Lord is, and that is why he is called as Sangraha. He is always, this is one other name of Lord Vaman Dev in the 12 names of Lord Vaman. Does that answer the question, Prabhu? Ayan, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, it answers the question. And thank you very much, Prabhu. It clears so many doubts, Prabhu. And I'm so sorry for interrupting the class. Hare Krishna.
No
Prabhu.
problem. Thank you for your participation. Hare Krishna. Yes, Vinita Gandharika Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for such a beautiful class. 1 second, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. What a beautiful class. And I really like question he asked hypocrisy in devotional service, and your answer made me feel that I am big hypocrite. I always say that Krishna, I want to serve you, but I ask so many material desires. But then when you answer, your answer gave me a lot of hope, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, very beautiful class. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Bhakti. Hare Krishna. Anybody else?
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for wonderful question and answer session. In the chat, Anand Vilas Prabhuji asking, can somebody kindly provide the Sanatana Goswami Sri Krishna Leela Sattva in Sankirtana, please?
I
didn't
can send the link, yes, but then there is the song that I sang is on this link. Everybody can see. Sarva Shastrati Piyusha Sarva Vedaika Satphala. The verses are mentioned in this link and they can have the meaning as well. It's an English transliteration, so it's not in Sanskrit. But if I find the Sanskrit, I can show it in the group and you can have it.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Sukhakar Krishna Prabhu, do you have any? You can go ahead, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for giving me a chance. Prabhu, I just want to find out that today you told about Vaman Dev and Onam has just happened. So coincided. Happy Onam and happy Vaman Jayanti, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Happy Onam to you as well. Onam is just like in a because though Vaman Dev's pastime happened near Gujarat, near the Narmada River, the Keralites celebrate appearance of Vaman Dev as well. And that is because the Lord is very kind to his devotees. He shows many replays. Just like if Sachin Tendulkar puts a sixer, they will show at least 6 times in different angles the same sixer. So many devotees want to see the same pastime again. So there was a devotee in Kerala who said, please show me this pastime. And that was enacted again. That is how we see the same pastime are enacted at many places. But they're in their root form. They're found in Mayapur and Vrindavan. So thank you.
But Malayalis, they think he's from Kerala. Maveli is from Kerala. Maveli. They're thinking like that. Many of the Malayalis.
Yeah, so that is
and
okay.
They say, and Krishna from Dwaraka, people think he's from Gujarat. So what is the religion?
Krishna? Sorry, I didn't hear that. Sorry.
He's from Dwaraka, no? So he's a Gujarati. Krishna, he's a Gujarati.
Yeah. Yes. So Guruvayurappan, he came, the Lord of Guruvayur came from the Guru and Vayu established it the way Devaki was worshipping. So he came from Dwarka. So they accept that. Hanta Bhagyam Jananam. So Guruvayur, he's from there. So people accept it. Those who are transcendentalists, they don't find boundaries of states, cultures. Those who are transcendentalists, they love all languages. They love all states. They love all human beings. And they love all living entities, not only human. They love all living entities. So that's why the Lord is known as, Suchihi, which is another name of Lord Vaman. Because he purifies the Adhama, the Adhamas, the Madhyamas, and the Uttamas. And he is the Uttama because he purifies everyone. Right? So he purified even Ajamila through his holy name.
So he made a Namuchi Suchi. He made Namuchi to Suchi.
Yes, absolutely. Namuchi, he became Suchi.
Suchi.
Okay, very nice. Very play of words. Yes, Pooja Mataji, you can go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam. Prabhuji, as we all know that especially in India, from today, Pitra Paksh has started, and so I just want to ask you that how could I happy how could I satisfy our ancestors? I mean, if we want that Krishna make them some space in their his lotus feet, then what should we do for our ancestor? As I don't have my father and mother right now, so if I want to do something for our ancestors in this Pitra Paksh, then what should we do?
So the best and easy way is to ask blessings from devotees and chanting on behalf of your Pitrus, offering prasadam, and doing austerities, charity. These are positive benefits, or these are the dharmic effects. But chanting, holding Sankirtan, and in the heart of hearts, as well as through words, action, saying that the good pious activities that you will get out of chanting, doing Sankirtan, feeding devotees, I dovetail it to my Pitrus, my ancestors. By doing that, that is the greatest service that you can do. Many people quote Srimad Bhagavatam and say that Devashi Pitratmanan Ranam Narajan, that you don't have any debt towards any of the Pitras, but one has to carefully read what Srila Prabhupada mentions, that for a pure devotee. So we are in the process of becoming pure. So we have to execute this duty. One of the greatest way of repaying the debt towards parents is to become a parent. That is the greatest step. So if that has been achieved, which is in a logical way, get married, get a son or a daughter and lead them, that is the greatest step by making them Krishna conscious. That is also a way to repay the debt to the parents. So the short answers are, you can feed devotees, you can give charity, you can engage in service, and dovetail those positive acts, dovetail the results of those acts, of those devotional service towards your Pitrus. This is the way you can please your Pitrus.
Prabhuji, my another question is, could I dedicate coming Ekadashi to my
that also can be
father?
Done.
My father, as he was passed away on Ekadashi day.
You can do that, Mataji. You can do that. You can do any activity which is Krishna conscious. You can do and dovetail those activities to others.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for wonderful answer.
There is a question: if we have not become a parent, would being Krishna conscious suffice? If there is some medical condition, if there is any issue that one cannot become a parent or then one is not able to, we should pray to Krishna. We should pray to Krishna, and then that would suffice. Krishna conscious. One should execute a duty. Whether to give a child or not, that is Krishna's responsibility. It's Krishna's ichcha. We should do all that is possible with a good intent to get a Krishna conscious child if you are a grihastha. But if there are certain conditions which is not allowing one, then one should pray to Krishna and continue in Krishna consciousness. There are great devotees who are Krishna conscious and who are childless also. That is completely okay. Helps in Vanaprastha. Yes. Sudhakar Prabhu.
Radhe Radhe, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I was just asking a query on the same explanation which you just clarified to one of the devotee on the Pitrupaksh. Suppose there are no parents, or when you say Pitru is only the parents, or even the spouse is also can be done, for example.
So if you are a husband, then your responsibility also is towards your in-laws and though the primary responsibility of Pitra is falling for the male member in that lineage. For example, if your wife has a brother, then the main responsibility of taking care of your wife's ancestors falls on your brother-in-law. But if there are families where brother-in-laws are not available, all are daughters, or there is only one daughter and we are the husband of that daughter. So our in-laws' responsibility falls by default on the husband as well. So because that is the Vedic way of marriage, that you say that if there is a penny short in the in-laws' house, you will take care of that house. And similarly, the in-laws also promise that if there is a penny short financially, spiritually, whatever is shortages, the in-laws will take care of your house. So that is how the Vedic marriage happens. So if there are opportunities where we have, so and that is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. As a Krishna conscious practitioner, we have to ensure that Krishna is given to all living entities. And we at that time do not see any boundaries. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood. Patra, apatra, sthana, na sthana dekhi murti. He doesn't see who is qualified, who is not qualified. He doesn't see which is the right place, which is not the right place. What is the lineage that does not see. So if we get a chance, we should also do it for their side of the ancestors as well. And there are places to do this. In Rameshwaram is one place where you can do Pitrahomas, where yajna specifically by Adi Setukarai. That's right at the place where Dasharatha paid his obeisances to Lord Jagannath, who is known as Adi Jagannath in, what is the name of the place? Tirupallani. It is a place called as Tirupallani, just by the sea, from where the bridge was constructed. So one can do Pitruhomas there. It's very, very fruitful.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. But I had another query. Just my wife has passed away, and they say that actually, like, my son is supposed to do the rituals of our mother. Is it true, or in case that my son is not able to do, or is something, then the husband can do, or what actually the scriptures say on this?
So generally, that's the son's part to do it. However, I'm not a very big expert on it. You might have to consult some other devotees on these rituals. Generally, it is the son's part to do it. But anybody can, on behalf of any living entity, can dovetail their Krishna consciousness. Yeah. So as a husband, you can definitely, you can be grateful. You can do those activities. But it's also important for the son to do it. At any case, if you're not able to do the rituals of the tarpana or all of those, it's also said that giving certain plantains, they generally give plantain, the green plantain, to the brahmanas in the temples and give dakshina and serve the deities and give Krishna Prasad to the devotees. So these are some of the ways by which we can do if we are unable to do. And it happens. Even if the son or the lineage of the daughter is ready to do it, but they are ill, they are not able to do it. They are traveling, they are visiting a dham. So at those times, they can do this. There are always provisions which can be done. So you might have to consult some expert devotees in this matter. I am not the one. I'm saying the things that I have seen and heard in the parampara.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, what if we have children and they are not Krishna conscious? Let's not quickly decide they are not, because some seeds take longer to germinate. So some seeds take longer to fructify and bear fruits. Not all plants have the same time frame. So some take lifetimes. But whatever might be the reason, we continue praying to Krishna, and Krishna takes care of us. If we are totally surrendered to Krishna, we don't have to surrender or worry about any other laukika loss, earthly loss. That would be my answer, Mataji. But let us not conclude that this person is not a devotee. We should never say that, because we never know how the function of time and devotion affects on each one of them.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Nobody.
much.
Go ahead, Preeti Vilasni Mataji.
I just wanted to say thank you for the wonderful class.
Yeah.
Thank you for the wonderful class.
Yeah, if nobody have any questions or realization, can we end the call here?
Yeah, I was just going to ask one quick thing. I recently came across a name for Vamanadev called Ugra Krama. There's two names, Ugra Krama, and the opposite meaning, I think, means small steps. I forget what that one is, but I was expecting it to be in the Sahasranam list there, but I didn't hear it. So I was just wondering, I just found it curious that I didn't hear that name in that list.
Ugra karma is over endeavoring action.
No, not that. No, not that one. Ugra krama.
Urukrama.
Urukrama. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So there is a word called Trivikrama also, and Urukrama.
Yeah, that's
also.
the other one. Trivikrama.
Yes. Trivikrama. So both these names will come in Sahasranam. So these come in different repetitions. So we will see that this is not the only representation of these names. So there are places where sometimes the names also repeat in the 1000, but with a different context to it. So I will have to check if Urukrama and Trivikrama are there, where they come and what name it is. But I can definitely let you know.
Prabhu, the name has come from 3 steps into Prabhu. Trivikrama came from the 3 steps into Trivikrama.
Correct. But the question is
Urukrama,
where.
I'm not getting the
Great. Where in the Sahasranamam are these words, so that we'll find out the number exactly and then provide. I don't have it handy.
No, I don't need number. It's enough for me to know that it's there. I was just curious that I didn't hear it in that list that you mentioned today.
It's not there in the list that we mentioned between 151 to 162. In that, it is not there.
Oh yeah, but it is somewhere in the Sahasranam. Both those.
We'll
names.
have to check. We'll have to check.
Oh, okay.
Unlimited names.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you so much for wonderful class, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Every time you come
Hare
and
Krishna.
you narrate beautiful pastimes, Prabhu, and you make class very interactive, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji.
We are
Hare
very
Krishna.
grateful to you,
Prabhuji. Hare
and we
Krishna.
look forward for your association
Krishna.
again in the future, Prabhuji. Let
Thank you
me
very much.
obeisances to Prabhuji and all the Vaishnavas. Vancha
Kalpatarubhasya Kripasindhuvaya Patanam Pavanam Yo Namo Namah.
Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai,
Jai.
Haridas Varya Prabhu Ji Ki Jai, all Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Radhe.
Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining today's class. We'll meet tomorrow. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Happy birthday.
Hare
Happy birthday, motorbike.